Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Adrian here and Dom from Lightshare. And in this episode, we wanted to talk about the skewed perception of what it actually takes to make it into the industry. Not what it takes necessarily, but how long you should expect it to take for you to land that first job or whatever. You know, when we say the first job, we don't mean necessarily like your first AAA gig or your first big hit in the industry, right? We're just talking like your first normal, regular commission from a client, from someone who just saw your work online and stuff like that. I guess we could start there, right, Dom? Like your work online. That means you're posting your stuff. You're not only working on stuff, but you're also like putting yourself out there for people to find you.
Yeah. This is very common if, like we said, you don't have much industry connections and you have social media at your disposal only. This is the way to do it, or one of the ways to do it, right? If you were to start from like bare bones scratch, you only have your portfolio, you only have your skills. This is one of the ways to put yourself out there if you have no one to talk to. To get yourself in the industry. Like kind of where we went, right? We just had the internet and that was it. Like I was nowhere near the industry or near industry professionals when I started out.
Yeah, people really think that they can make it within the first year or something like that, or which is in some cases because my assumption is because of these schools and courses and stuff like that, these 1-year diplomas and stuff like that, they kind of form this perception on the majority of the people who aspire to such a position in the industry that within one single year, you can already land a job if you just study hard and just put the work in and stuff like that. However, the difference is these people, like let's take, I don't want to say any names, but anyway, the Fengzhou school and stuff like that, right? Because they teach you for 1 year and then they have their connections and stuff like that. They make sure you get some jobs here and there, but it's not like entitlement or anything like that. It's just like, this kid is really good at this. Do you want him to work on your company? And that's how they force those connections. And that's how they land those jobs, right? From there on, it's a whole different story. It's a whole bunch of snowball effect, which also happens outside of the school, I would argue. Outside of the school, I never got to make it into that school, for instance, because I didn't have the money to pay for that. And instead, I just practiced on my own. I was literally pretending that I'm working at some real place, like I have a real brief with directors and stuff like that commanding me and to apply these changes, make this character like this and stuff like that. I literally believed that here at home without having any jobs or anything like that. When I first found out about concept art as a possibility for me to apply my passion for art to some real market application, such as the art industry, I said, you know what? I'm going to learn this shit. I'm going to do it. And I sat here practicing stuff that I was enjoying, designing characters and practicing landscape paintings and stuff like that. And of course, you have some references here and there. I think both you and I were watching a lot of Fengzhou back then in the very beginning when we started.
I just want to say, I think the difference between Fengzhou students is that they work their students to the ground.
That's the thing I didn't get to say. Yeah.
They have a different curriculum than the average Joe.
It's brutal. Absolutely brutal.
If you go through that, you can go through that. But just so you know, you probably will, come out mentally unstable.
No, I mean, I met some people that have studied.
It's rough.
There. They were saying that, bro, you're always tired. You just work your ass off for 12, 16 hours a day. I don't know, like 18 hours a day even. And that's inconceivable for most of us. Like, what do you mean 18 hours a day? Day has 24. You sleep for 6 hours and then you just work all day long. When do you eat? When do you take naps? When do you eat? What is that?
That's a surefire way to burn out. Like
that's the sheer dedication to the craft that is sometimes needed to achieve your goal, which is to land a job within the first year. Like that's how intense it gets if you really want it that fast, right? But if you have, let's say, 2, 4 years, 5 years, remember the previous episode we were discussing how it roughly maybe it'll take anywhere between 7 to 11 years.
It out. Yeah,
exactly. So when we're especially making this episode because of things we've seen around where people say, hey, so I'm putting in 2 hours of work here and there, every day. I try to work really hard. And we're like, 2 hours a day? What the fuck is that? What do you expect to do? How's that even going to work out? Like 2 hours a day? Like, do you know how much far ahead some other people can get ahead of you because they're putting in more work, more hours of work a day? Oh, Adrian, but more hours of work doesn't equal like better work. You have to work fast and work smart and work. Sure, I get it, but it's still mileage, and that you can't buy. Experience can't be bought.
World, someone out there is probably working harder than you to get the position that you want. And if you're not putting the effort and time in, then that person's going to take your job that you really want, right?
Yeah.
So if you can match the caliber, you don't have to be like some front end, high end concept artist out of the bat, but like you gotta put just substantial effort each day, right? You can't just take like months off of learning and expect to come back like within 3 months or so and just be a pro. You have to like do it consistently.
Yeah. And I don't even feel like explaining myself anymore because I've been saying these things for so long and people keep misinterpreting these words for like, oh, you're so mean, you're so this, you're so that. I don't give a fuck anymore, bro. Like, I'm just saying it as it is. This is my experience. This is also your experience. And it's also the experience of so many other people who've been working in this industry for 10, 15, 20 years, right? No one says
so many stories.
Take it easy, just take it easy. Like there's none of that.
They'll tell you that to make you feel better about yourself, but like it's not the reality, though.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of teachers. The more kinder teachers will tell you, yeah, you'll make it in 2 or 3 years. Just keep going. Just keep staying persistent. But the reality side of it is like a whole nother story, right? If you actually deep dive into what the pros are doing and what people from other countries are studying, like the Chinese concept artists, for instance, bro, they're studying like hours a day, and their work is substantial.
It's the work philosophy behind their schedules and everything. Everything they put in is like very structured and very not only the Chinese artists you mentioned or anyone else. It's just depending. It's just hard work. It's just all it takes is hard work. Is this sheer devotion to your craft until you master it and you learn more about it and you get to develop these skills that you're able to use to basically translate your ideas from the intangible realm of your mind out into the physical world on digital paper. And also on physical paper in some cases, because people keep sketching and stuff like that. That's very good. In fact, we always say that it's better to start in a traditional way to better understand and have a better grasp of on the fundamentals and what it takes to get to some results. And then when you taste the digital kind of realm, it's an entirely different thing. Oh, we have undos, we have layers, we have, whoa, this is so clean and so much faster. Of course it is.
And then from there, you can go onto the 3D stuff, like we mentioned. You could use those super powerful tools that you want to jump into.
I was just going to make that. Exactly. Sorry, I was just going to make that point exactly. Like that segue is perfect because it's exactly what we're talking about. These tools, if you start directly in 3D, if you start directly with photo bashing, with all of these advanced techniques, then you're entirely missing on the foundations of it. Those fundamentals, you've been skipping them. And, it's going to be really hard for you when they ask you to perform some quick changes. Edit this thing. Just, iterations on this design. Fast. Come on, do it. It's for today. It's like, I need to have this by lunchtime. And you're like,
imagine.
How can I fix this now? It took me like 2 days to make it, to bring it to this point.
Like, imagine if you skipped your grammar. How would you be able to communicate with people in other parts of the world. You know,
Yeah.
you have to understand the basics first before you can speak fluently. The same thing with fundamentals. You have to learn how to draw. You have to learn how to walk first before you can run. Or if you want to paint some magical masterpiece, right?
Yeah.
You have to know those basics.
Yeah. And what were we talking about before? People who expect it to be very fast and make it. Look, I'm not saying you can't make it within the first year or the first 2 years or 3 years even. I don't care about that. I don't care how long it takes. It just depends on the amount of dedication you put into it. But Adrian, there's so many other factors. You know, I wasn't born in a rich family. Neither was I, you know, and I'm not complaining because it took me long enough for me to absorb all that knowledge across my journey and finally land some jobs that I'm proud of and clients and projects. And it's really simple. The way I see it is that it's really simple. Both you and I, Dom, have come up with some ideas that were born within ourselves. It comes from the heart. It's some soul-based idea. This is what people need to understand, that this is what art usually is about. It's an expression of the self. And when it comes from within, you just know everything about it and you have fun exploring it. That's where things like Heavenurian come out. That's where Journey to the East comes out, where Blue November, where Journey to the East 2. I'm sorry if that's a spoiler, but
no, it's already on my profile so they can see it.
That's where these things come to happen. And guess what follows next? A lot of attention, a lot of client jobs and opportunities, and more friends you make along the way. Hey, what's that thing you're working on? Oh, it's just a personal thing I'm doing. Yeah. And then it expands and it grows larger and you keep improving it. And it brings so much joy to yourself that somehow you don't even feel the struggle. You don't even feel the pain and the suffering and everything you have to go through. It just lines up perfectly in front of you. And you start seeing opportunities fall in front of you one after another. It's just, I don't know. It's mind blowing, but
but it's too philosophical, Adrian. I just need a job.
Adrian,
I just need a job
tell me how to get a job in 3 months. Shut the fuck up, bro. Like that's not gonna happen. Like it's not that easy. You know, you just can't start like, okay, I'm gonna start drawing now. I don't know shit about art. I'm just gonna start drawing because when I was a kid, I used to do drawings and stuff. Bro, do you know how like there's so many things you have to learn. There's no physical time for you in 3 months, I believe, to learn everything that makes you like a valid candidate for a client to want to hire you and work on their professional, I don't know how expensive project might be, but yeah, it's basically a business.
This goes with art and any other career that takes years of dedication, right? You can't be a doctor in 3 months, bro.
I need to work at SpaceX. I need to land a job in 2 weeks. Like, I'm learning the fundamentals here and there, but like, is there any way I can crack it in? Like, bro, no. Like, just no. You know how many years it's gonna take for you to get there? We're not even talking about the amount of contacts you have to make along the way and be at the right place at the right time with the right people, and all these things. Like, we're not even counting that in the equation. It's just basically you have to learn those ingredients that are going to make you stand apart from the other people that are also interested in the same place you want the job at. Because this is the thing, it's highly competitive. This is not something inherent to this industry. It's everywhere. Life itself is freaking competitive. In fact, you are a living proof of it. Weren't you a sperm cell before you came to life? You had to beat others, I don't know, like other millions of others like you, right? But out of them,
exactly the same concept.
You are the one who won that race. And it's the same thing here. Maybe there's not millions and billions of people competing for one job at this specific company you want to work at.
But there are thousands for sure.
There might be thousands. There might be 2 others. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Someone else might get the job because you failed somewhere where they didn't. It's as simple as that. And don't take it necessarily as this highly competitive thing either, because this might sound like, what's the name for these things? Like counterintuitive or whatever. Adrian, you're not making much sense here. You're just contradicting yourself all the time. All I'm saying is that art is, you're supposed to enjoy this, you know, and this, This is a job, yes, but you get to a point where you just learn to enjoy this, and it no longer feels like a job. And that's when magical things happen and beautiful projects come out. You can feel that.
I mean, if you look at the front page here alone, like look how much freaking insane art there is.
Yes.
Like you're competing with this. You know, you're competing with all of this like crazy ass
There's
art
one I saw
on here.
Hold on.
But we'll take a look at our old work in a second.
Yeah, dude, there was one piece I wanted to show. I think it just refreshed the page or so. Oh yeah, here it is. See, I love this.
Wow.
This is really cool. And the process and everything is like, oh, it's 3D. Oh, but he cheated. Oh, he cheated. Shut up, dude. He didn't cheat. Look, on the left side, you can see some sketches and stuff for the main idea.
He knows what he's drawing out.
He's got references. He's got references and ideas for the lighting, and then he jumps into 3D and makes it happen, right? I'm not saying this is the way to do it. It could also happen the other way around. If you clearly see an idea in your mind, because that happens a lot, right? Most of us have this flash type of thought, like, oh man, I just saw something really cool. I need to express it in some way. So that's totally fine. It's really, there's no guidebook to this. Like, how am I supposed to do this? People try to follow the same methodology all the time, like the line drawing, values, color, textures. Bro, what if you start directly with painting? You know, what if you start directly in 3D? It doesn't really matter.
Segue into our work here.
Yeah.
Where we.
But Adrian, you just said that you're supposed to follow some rules. I'm saying that when you know the basics, when you know the fundamentals, you can basically wield any weapon you want. Yeah. And
let's take a look at it.
Yeah, look. Take a look at this, guys.
So the bottom piece on the diagonal right, that was my first ever environment concept piece that I've done. You know, when I started out, this was the first thing I made.
The sunset one?
The one to the right.
Oh,
the icy
right,
one.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the first ever thing that I did. I didn't plan to draw boxes in perspective. I didn't care about like drawing the perfect line. I just wanted to make something cool that I could throw on the canvas. And, you know, I knew it was going to be shit, but I knew I was going to improve on it later. Mm-hmm. But this is like a starting point anyone can do, right? If you want to do an environment, just paint something that you think looks cool from your head. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to match the fundamentals perfectly in the beginning. Just do something you're inspired with or inspired by and see where it takes you from here, right? This is the jumping off point of where I want it to go. Yeah. I'm testing out composition. I'm seeing if values work together. I'm seeing if like my brush economy can work. You know, it's terrible, shitty brush economy, but I'm like, all right, I'm just going to roll with it. I just realized there's a random helicopter. I don't know if that's there.
Helicopter. Yeah.
You see,
also
I'm just
the perspective and stuff, right? It's kind of broken. The sense of scale. Mm-hmm.
It's weird, and yeah.
Then you've got some more here, but I'm not sure if these
some
are
characters.
How far?
Yeah, these are
from these
same year.
Same year.
Yeah. So these are me just trying out characters, seeing like the anatomy. Okay, anatomy's janky. Even the set dressing is janky. Like the clothes and stuff doesn't make sense. It's just like blobs of paint. But hey, I just wanted to have fun with this, right? Yeah. Just want to see what my mind could come up with, even if it's shit. Eventually,
well, it's shit for you now from where you're at right now. But back then, when you were making these, I'm sure you were proud of them. You were like, damn, dude, this is shit, dude.
This is sick.
Yeah.
I'm on my way. I'm on my way to get a job.
And I'm not going to lie, this one looks good even now, you know? Like it's...
This one, I literally just like copied it like 1-to-1, you know? Or at least try to from a screenshot.
Yeah, I was about to ask you if this was like one of the first attempts to not photo manipulation, but like photo bashing or something. But I'm seeing everything's painted, So I was guessing, did you paint on top of a picture or something? But you're saying that you just
This was
copied
a
it
study
side by
of
side.
a screenshot, yeah. But it's not that good.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I mean, you can tell the value structure is different in this one than in these ones, for instance. This is like all blurry and very
there's no
dark.
separation.
This one's like,
between.
it feels sharper, especially when you put
it's
them next to
there,
each other like
but
this.
it's not quite, yeah. So that's my beginning journey.
And then you get to this point. Like, what the fuck happened in between, Dom? You just got good overnight? So this is your second year, right? So you start year one.
I just go to my portfolio, but that's we don't have to pull up my portfolio, but just people want to see the now work, they can just pull me up. But this is just an example of better composition, better dynamic flow. I
mean, I can breathe the air in that atmosphere.
Is formed
almost.
Yeah, you can see the scale, how large these mountains are compared to the middle ground.
Far more believable, and the camera choice and everything is the perspective we were talking about before. You can see those little windmills and farms in the distance. They're much more believable in terms of scale than whatever you were trying to show here, for instance, with these houses and stuff like that. Right. So it's an entirely different thing, but this is the journey. This is what we were talking about, And I'm not realizing I've been screaming I've been basically yelling at the microphone for the first half of the episode. I don't apologize because that's how I was feeling at the time. But basically this is the journey, And I think we segued into this because of this tendency to follow trends and try this trendy challenge. And now I'm trying to study. Guys, look at my studies. I'm studying anatomy. Look at me. We've all been there. I've tried it all. Daily posting.
Validation seeking.
Yes.
Daily posting. I have my work seen and appreciated by other people.
Exactly.
Which is nice. You should get like some form of someone seeing your work. Like we all want our work to be seen. But when it becomes a crutch and you rely on it, that's when, your work cripples, I feel.
I would say
it's good feedback, but not to the point where you have to breathe it.
That's normal because we all seek that validation in some way in the beginning, right? Because you're quite unsure about if you're doing it right or you're doing it wrong. So you're constantly looking for that validation. However, there's a fine line between seeking validation and asking for feedback and then implementing the feedback, right? Yeah. Those are different things. When people call you out because, Dom, this perspective here is broken and this design here and this random helicopter, like, what the fuck, bro? And you go like, oh, he criticized my work. Oh, no. Like, that's not how it is going to get you far ahead because you're just resisting that. How can I put this into words? You're basically putting in a lot more friction than you need. You're basically shielding yourself from any critique, and that's what you get. If you don't want to improve, this could be you today, Dom. This painting here, but because you took in that feedback and you saw it yourself, you said, you know what? I'm going to apply the feedback and try to improve in my next piece. And God knows how many pieces later you got to this point.
Like over 500 plus.
Yeah.
I was going to say that if you're the type of person who isn't welcoming to feedback, I will say that you should be your own harshest critic then. Like you should criticize the frick out of your paintings. Like put a professional's work next to your work and see where you need to hit those areas, where you need to hit those benchmarks. Because that's what I always did. I would put pro work next to mine while I'm working and see what I'm missing.
Like benchmarking.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, we all have references and idols and stuff like that. That doesn't mean you have to copy them, right?
Yeah, don't copy.
You can feel inspired by them, but it doesn't necessarily means that, oh, I want to be just as good as Dom. So now I'm going to put his piece next to mine, and I'm just going to copy this piece pixel by pixel and change. Maybe this character is going to be a little bigger, and
you just want to see the techniques, like how the artist approached it, but you don't want to copy, one to one.
The thing
what
is,
you see.
People will usually post this as a study, right? They would say, "This is a study I did today," and someone will see it and will go, "Hey, that's like a piece that Dom Lay did. Looks oddly similar." Oh, but it's just a study. I did it. Like, yeah, but it's crazy similar to his. Did you copy it? Well, I took inspiration from it. Like, what the fuck, bro? Do you know what those words mean? Even like you can't just do that, So anyway, these are things that you learn across the way. It's just more of a common sense than any other thing. It's not like some secret knowledge that you acquire across your journey. It's just common sense, right? So do your own thing and take inspiration from nature, which is the most
nature
pure
photography.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely insane. And it really blows my mind still to this day how people can say still that it's boring. Real life it's boring, bro. There's nothing in real life. It's only movies and games and other people's work is inspiring.
We'll definitely show people how to get reference in another episode with real life reference, how to actually see the value in nature and photography. And we'll pull up Google Maps and go deep dive into like different places we can find.
Absolutely. You guys will see. We'll walk you through the process in a future episode, hopefully. So, what I wanted to say is that we've all been there with all these challenges and all these practices. And look at me, I'm studying now. Like, look at my 30 boxes in perspective that I drew today. Like, no one's interested in that, really, unless you do something like 30 skulls in different angles or something like that. That's way more eye-catchy.
Or hands or, a character in different poses.
Okay, this guy can really think in 3D. But you can't expect that on your first month, just post a bunch of boxes and expect that attention, for no reason. People want to see this. This is what people want to see, Yeah.
Or
this. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey. Like, I was talking with Dom before, prior to recording this episode, and he was saying, and I was agreeing with it as well, that you should just try to apply those same fundamental learning techniques, like those lessons, to something you enjoy. Like, instead of a box, try to design this little house here somehow. It's still geometrical in shape. It has perspective. It has all these design elements, even if it's basic. It doesn't get any more basic than a box, right? So you're doing boxes anyway. Why not, make it into something cooler like this? It's not going to take away from your lessons. It's not going to disrupt your learning curve. It's
even the castle in the background or the factory is like rectangles in a way, or like cylinders,
Well, because of the shading because of the shadow you gave to it, it feels more like cylinders. It feels curved. So you see how that matters? Like, with line drawing alone, it might be a little hard to depict that here, which is why you might as well want to experiment a little bit with these other techniques where you implement the use of value, the use of color. Now, don't get too crazy with it in the beginning. You don't need it to be perfect, right? All I want you to do is to be proud of the piece you're creating and then improve it, and then improve it, and then do this for the next 10 years. 10 years? But
too long.
But 10 years.
I don't have that much time. Well,
good luck.
Then maybe this is not the industry for you.
It's all right. Coming back to the 2 hours a day or something like that. That's crazy, bro. Like, how can you? Your work shift won't be 2 hours a day, most likely.
Yeah.
Right. If you work at a studio,
I'm working part-time.
it's just, I don't know. Like, I'm not even going to comment on these things anymore because it's just so. Right. It's
Let's get your stuff now.
Yeah, it's actually they go along the same lines. Like, I was at the very beginning when I first found out that concept art is a thing and I can really make a career into this because it binds together everything I've ever loved: art, entertainment, games, films, movies, all these designs and everything I like. You can put it together into something that's a job. Are you crazy? Yeah, I want this. So here's one of my examples from 10 or I don't know, 2013 or something, right? And I've always enjoyed this, but I was fresh into the digital kind of thing. You'll have better days, you'll have worse days, you see. Even this one is from only 4 years ago or so, and I never showed it. Guess I'm showing it now, but because of this, for this purpose of this episode. But I was like, bro, this sucks. This fucking sucks. This will never see the light of day. I'm embarrassed by this piece. Like, how can someone like me create such a piece of shit like this? So, of course, you're your worst critic, and you should be, because this is what pushes you to make better choices and better designs. And the next thing you know, you end up somewhere like this, right? I would say crazy. That this is much better. I don't know about you guys, but I think I prefer this one over the other one. So, yeah. And basically, you keep creating things from within. Like I was enjoying this this archetype, trope, theme,
dragon,
whatever you want to call it. You know, it's like, yeah, a little kid and a dragon. That's literally the name of this piece. Kid with dragon. And I noticed how several years later, a decade later, I'm creating something oddly similar to that without them having anything to do with each other. But in the back of my mind, I guess they're connected somehow. So these ideas stay with you, but then they get a better chance at being represented with much better quality in the future when you've finally acquired those skills. Be careful with what I just said, because most people would take this as if, oh, so I'll just wait a decade until I can finally flesh out my ideas. No, it's not what I'm saying.
By that point.
It's not what I'm saying. You flesh them out right here, where you are right now. I was here and I did it. And then some years later, it came back for some reason.
Yeah, then you polish it up.
Yes.
And make it
by the way,
the best you can make it.
This piece, which is from my project Hivanurian, happened like this. I had this in mind. It was a very cemented idea. And then I brought it to the next level with this piece. And I was really happy with it. Same story goes for, I'm going to show you next, this character I was designing. So that's how I went about it. I started on paper. That's why I mentioned the paper in the beginning, the traditional thing. I was having fun with these markers and stuff like that on a sketchbook. And I'm like, oh, what if these characters could be something? I don't know. So I came with this idea about some tiger dude that's a warrior, and it has this weird crown. So I called him like he was a king, but because he had some bone structure that made it look like a crown, you know? And I was trying to figure out his anatomy and his size and everything. This is me 10 years ago, before I had any of these, any experience in the industry or anything like that. I was just basically studying online, you know, watching Feng Zhu do these things. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do my own thing too. And as you can see, you just go as deep as you want with it, you know, like study their nails, their subatomic structure, whatever you're into. Just make it look cool, you know? And this to me looked very cool back then. This is that same character represented in some sort of flashy type of image, splash art, whatever you want to call it. You can see all the values, the structures and everything. And years later, you start getting a little better at understanding some of these principles.
Forms, the anatomy, the
expressions, poses, whatever. You know, you keep exploring all of these things. And as opposed to this, which was, I would say, far more superficial, now your ideas come from a very, very defined place, I would say, source, okay, inside of you. Like your sources of inspiration change over time, and they change for the better until you land somewhere you're really proud of. And yeah, this was just this quick presentation, you know, with the work we've been gathering
before and after.
Yeah.
So now,
yeah,
let's take a look at some assumptions people have, I guess, of how long it really takes, or
Yeah,
what's
this is just for you guys to see that we're not making this shit up, okay? This is stuff that we see online. Well, more like Dom, because I haven't seen all of these things. He's been sharing with me some links, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what do these people expect, bro? Like, is this real? So we felt compelled enough to make this episode and somehow address this. Okay, here we go with the first one. How hard is it to become a concept artist? Is this a pie in the sky type of thing, or is it achievable if you meet requirements X and Y? Well, there's always requirements, you know, like some.
Yeah.
You have to have imagination. You have to think in 3D. You have to have this and that. And there's a lot of factors that take into account. See, this guy is saying it. Man, these all of them are deleted. Deleted.
The short answer, the one on the bottom, I think said it right.
The short answer.
It will take time to get to a professional level. Yeah, there are no shortcuts.
I'm gonna make this smaller. Okay. So yeah, basically, there's no shortcuts. You have to put in the work. You have to work very, very hard. And the path might be slightly different for each and every single one of us, depending, like, we don't all start in the same place, right? Some of us start lower, some of us start higher. It doesn't really matter, because if you figure out the resources you need to keep walking down this path, eventually you will make it. Now, if we're talking about someone who can somehow count on someone to support themselves with, you know, or like your family supports you and helps you along the way, that's even better. Some people have it even worse, and they still make it. That's what I'm talking about. You know, like they start somewhere very, very rough, they keep pushing, and they eventually make it. And then some people point at those and say, but they were lucky. But they were not lucky. You're not seeing the underneath version of the iceberg. You don't see it, what's beneath the water. So you don't know. That's why we tend to not, at least I'm speaking for myself here. I don't want to judge anyone on this, because everyone has a different journey, right? I can only speak for myself and for what I've been through. And because I know my journey, and I'm putting it out there for you guys, I'm getting a few comments that are pretty relatable. Like, Adrian, I actually resonate with the stuff you're saying, you know, because it's the same story for me. I've been through this and that, and then I tried this and that, and I was lost, and then I found myself, and then I'm finally landing somewhere that I'm proud of, and so I guess it's nice when you hear someone say something that you can connect with. So anyway,
100%.
I'm just gonna keep bouncing between these things. How can I land a concept art job in 3 months, bro? What did I just say? I have about 3 months to land a concept art job. I've leveled up my skills, learned enough 3D and everything. Now I just need to complete the portfolio. I've learned enough.
All I have is ArtStation
3D and everything.
Enough. How much is enough?
All I have an ArtStation Pro account, and I need to land a remote concept artist job without fail. Okay.
Oh my gosh. A remote concept art job is even harder, I think.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's easier nowadays, you know, because ever since 2020 and stuff like that. I don't know. But yeah, you're right.
There's still,
How are they supposed to trust you, you know, if they don't even know you in person and stuff like that? Can anyone say
they don't know your face?
Yeah, you don't even have a track record. What's your history? What's your, not your portfolio, your CV and stuff? Oh, but the CV doesn't matter, right? All that matters is the portfolio.
Oh, it does matter.
Well, it does matter, because if you're a guy that has absolutely 0 projects under his belt, you think I'm going to trust you enough with all the sources, all the resources, and all the funding from my project to hire you? You're a huge risk I'm taking here, you know? Like,
it says on the bottom comment.
Concept art job with no experience? Good luck.
Good.
Yeah. So, look, I'm going to speak for myself, but most likely you'll get some sort of commissions and stuff like that from individual business guys or some writers that want you to design their book covers or something like that. It's still valid because it makes you push for the type of work you want to do. Now, if you do take those jobs because you need the money, keep in mind that those same type of commissions might come back to you later on. And you soon end up in this illustration category, which is far away from what you wanted in the beginning, which is the design department, right? So why can't I get like design jobs? It's because you're not showing design.
Yeah.
You know, you're
whatever you show in a portfolio is what you're hired for.
Yeah.
Usually. So you can change your portfolio any way you want. There's no, like, I'm locked into this forever. If you want to pivot and go into concept design, make your portfolio feel like a concept design portfolio.
I love his realization here at the edit. Damn, from all the answers, it is in the realm of possibility to do that. And apparently the industry is too hard to break into. From what I researched, you'd have to...
It's going to be hard regardless.
Bro.
Like, what are they expecting?
Anywhere is hard, you know? I don't know. I can't think of some specific job right now that you find highly
Plumbing
valuable.
is hard.
Yeah.
Being a technician is hard. Going to a trade school of any job is hard.
Yeah.
Right.
So
this is a trade job. It's going to be hard.
This part about the 3 months, like, I have 3 months, guys. I need to make this happen. Bro, would you expect that for an engineering career? Would you expect that for a medical career, medical doctor, whatever? You know, like, hey, I need to become this in 3 months. I need to land a job.
How are they going to trust a surgeon who only has 3 months of experience, right? You're going to cut something up wrong.
Yeah, but
and you might...
Listen to me. Yeah. We're not even talking about 3 months of experience. This guy has 0 experience. So from what I'm understanding here, he just started.
3 months is not that long for anything substantial.
But maybe I'm making that up. Maybe he didn't just start it. Maybe he's got some warning from his parents or God knows who. You have 3 months. If you don't land a job, you're out. You know, something like that. It could be the case. So, yeah, but I'm still saying, like, this seems unlikely to happen.
It's unrealistic.
Where he says, I learned enough 3D and everything. I just need to complete the portfolio.
What about fundamentals? What about 2D skills? Are those off the table?
There's so many things, right?
Yeah.
So,
anyways, let's continue.
What is the process of becoming a concept artist?
Dylan Cole level. What? It's like the Avatar artist.
Well, just the first thing that crossed my mind was, have you looked up his life and stuff and his portfolio and his career? Because
Dylan Cole is like the top of the top.
Yeah.
Top.
I'm curious about his
He's
process.
like one of the best.
If anyone can help me understand his craft regarding... Yeah, this is the case, right? Like, where you just see someone do something really, really cool and you're like, I want to do that. And then you find out what it takes to get where they got. And you're like, oh, never mind. You know? Because it's just too hard. But that's nature, dude. It's just the laws of the universe are shaped this way. We don't make these rules.
You can't just take a segue into something easy.
There are no shortcuts.
You're skipping steps
Yeah.
needed, foundations that people built in their careers.
Yeah.
If they took the time, how come you want the shortcut? It doesn't make sense, right?
I've recently graduated, just entered a professional space, indie development teams, concept. Yeah, this is most likely the first steps in a concept artist career.
Yeah, indie development.
Unless you're coming from some school or something like that, or with some nice circle of contacts that can put you directly into between the big guys in the industry, right? But it's most likely, this is the way it was for me. I don't know if this is the way it was for you, Dom, but this is what you get in the beginning, you know? Some indie
development teams, or just, smaller, like person-to-person type contracts where someone might approach you about, hey, I got this commission to do children's book illustration, or like, I don't know, do you want to do some concepts for my mini game?
And by the way,
that sort of thing.
Don't underestimate the indie term here. The indie development thing seems like it's a little game, right? It's just some insignificant... Bro, this is no joke. This is where you get to learn the most, because you get to wear all those different hats. They don't have money to hire 400 people, right? So you'll have most likely to do all of these other tasks that have to do with things outside of your expertise. And that's where you learn. You're in constant touch with the team, which is something different you don't get to see in some bigger productions where you're just the artist. Do your thing, do your task. Send it over to the 3D guys. Then they send it over to the animators or the riggers or whatever comes next, right? And then it's a whole bunch of different teams and big structures, and you don't get to see all the process. In an indie development studio, you do. You do get to see the whole process.
I remember I had to do graphic design with concept art for my first gig, because we needed to do graphic design for the parallaxing for their intro
You got
title
some
screen.
visuals,
Yeah,
logos.
how to do any of that stuff. So I had to like, you know how you have to separate all the layers for the parts to move in the parallaxing effect. I had to do that, and I didn't even know how to start that stuff.
You know,
you also
go on.
Go ahead.
No, you finish.
I was just saying, his other sentence said, concept art is probably one of the hardest disciplines to get a full-time job.
This guy?
In gaming, but also in animation and film.
Middle?
Go up?
Up?
Top. Or no.
This comment.
Top of his paragraph, yeah. It's after the indie development teams.
Oh, yeah, right.
Concept art is just gaming. Yeah. It's film animation too, which is also just as hard.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? It's about design. It's about design more than it is about pretty pictures. Because from the outside, that's what people see. Flashy pictures of, this character and this scene. And
splash art.
Yeah. And it gets confusing when you see like the keyframe illustrations and stuff like that are very rough sometimes. And they're just, a mood piece or something like that. Yeah, but how's that concept art? It's just the same as illustration, right? Look, they're the same. And like, yeah, but they have different purposes. This is for the internal team, and the other is for the final product, final consumer. It's a poster, something that people will get to see. People won't get to see your concept art.
The seniors and the principal artists are the ones who do those mood pieces, if you're wondering.
Yeah.
Like people, juniors wondering. Like usually it's the people higher up down the pipeline who get to do the fun stuff, like color keys, keyframes, mood pieces.
And I guess that's where it comes from, these big names, right? Like these, the original poster or whatever you call that on Reddit. I see they use that term a lot, OP, right? So anyway, the guy who made this, he's like asking for Dylan Cole. That's no joke. It's not like this little artist that I saw, like this is a big name. People like this guy get the coolest tasks ever. All right. You as a beginner concept artist, as a junior designer, you will most likely don't get those same jobs as this guy. Not only jobs, but the tasks within the jobs. Like, hey, paint this fucking cool landscape. Like, make it flashy and like all these cool guys storming in the scene with, the weapons.
I will say, if you do want a job like that, then you have to put in a lot of mileage into your painting skills. So if you want to do keyframes, then gear your portfolio towards a keyframe artist, right? Or like just paint a shit ton of scenes that look good, and you'll probably get hired for something like that, right?
If you're looking at it from a logical perspective, from the one who's hiring you, they don't want a guy that doesn't have the same mileage, the same vision, the same understanding as the senior, right? Which is why they don't give you those jobs. Because I need you to design 100 shields. I need you to design 100 boots. I need you to design 100 landing platforms. I don't want you dealing with the main scene in the game. I don't want you designing the main character. That's for the senior guy. I know this guy. I know what he's been doing so far in his life. I can see his work. You're like, it's a risk hiring you. Yeah, I can see your portfolio. You're really good at these things and stuff like that. But if I compare you to this guy, man, I'm 100% going to just give it to this guy, the senior, right?
He even said in his paragraph that the senior he's an expert at all the fundamentals: painting, drawing, photo bashing, using references, 3D software. So you got to be an expert in your field of choice. Mm-hmm. Like, why would you just settle for having junior skills? Like, aim for the top, aim for that senior position, Right. Even if you're not like, because I see so many people saying like, how do I get my first junior gig? Like, why do you want the junior gig, bro? Go for the senior gig. Even if you think like, oh, my skills aren't better yet, then become better, become a beast
It's
to
also
get
free
the
to
best
apply.
job.
It's free to apply.
Yeah.
You're not gonna waste your opportunity or anything. Oh, look,
Yeah.
there's a senior position opening there, but I'm not a senior, so
I can't take it.
no, I
Because
can't. Bro, what do you know? Like, how do you know? Do it. But it's only 2 years, bro. Like, I've only got 2 years in the industry, and they're asking for 5 years plus experience. Let me tell you something. That's bullshit. Because most of those numbers were basically there to scare beginners, right? To scare away the beginners and kind of like prevent them from applying. Because otherwise, you get these people drawing like anime or something, in their portfolio, and they're applying at a position at ILM, or Blizzard or something like that, So to save themselves from that trouble, they're basically putting all those numbers there. Like, yeah, you need at least 5 years of experience, 3 shipped titles, and you have to know this program and this program and this program. And when you read that as a beginner, you go like, whoa, yeah, I might not even try. But if you're someone who really does know all of that, the only thing you don't have are 3 shipped titles and 5 years of experience. Bro, you might as well just take a chance.
I'll tell a little bit about my portfolio, right? My portfolio consists mostly of just personal work.
Bro, wait, let me pull it up.
If you see the stuff that I'm posting, I'm not posting any type of client work at all. But this portfolio got me into DreamWorks as a keyframe artist and a color key artist. There's no client work whatsoever on my portfolio. And I know a lot of juniors might think that, I need to have a bunch of client work in my portfolio so, the recruiters can see that I have experience. But the experience comes from the skill in your work itself, your fundamentals, your values, your composition. That's the stuff they look for. They don't care if you worked on, they will care a little bit if you worked on like a nice title, but they want to see your skills. Like, are you good? Are you proficient in the basics, in the software? Right. But this got me my first big industry gig. This personal work that people don't think it's going to get them a job, right?
Do you see how it all comes together? Your style, your favorite way of painting, your favorite type of topics to explore throughout your paintings, and then the client work, the professional opportunities, and all that stuff. It all comes together. All these puzzle pieces fall in place at some point if you just keep going.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Simple as that.
If you just devote like a couple hours a day here and there, it might take you a lot longer to get to the same place than if you just put in the work, really. Like, okay, then I'm just going to sit at my computer for 10 hours a day and pretend I'm working, and hopefully that works. No, I'm not saying that. Like, you need to take breaks when you need to take breaks, and you need to focus.
Exactly.
Focus is the most important thing. Like, look, I know we've been...
People misunderstand this so much.
No.
Like, I have to just be chained to my chair the whole day. No, dude. You can have a life, but just lessen the BS in your journey.
That's an entirely different episode, because I think people misunderstand this, and they underestimate how much more time they would have in their hands if they just let go of unnecessary noise in their daily schedules. Right?
Yeah, we can save that for another topic.
It only comes down to being self-aware enough to realize when you're wasting your time on things you don't really need and you shouldn't be doing, and they're wrong for you. They're bad. So
let's go back to the posts, the Reddit.
Where were we? Did we get to see this one? Discussion on getting an entry-level concept art job. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry if this is in the right subreddit. My question is, why are companies always hiring for lead and senior concept artists? Well, why do you think, bro?
Obvious?
Yeah, that's what we're
good.
Exactly. Yeah. Because they're a safe bet. That's why.
They will get the product to its finished state.
Yeah.
Most likely.
You can extrapolate this to any other discipline, any other jobs out there. Why would they hire someone with no experience? Why would they hire someone for a high risk type of job? Like, I think this happened with the last Assassin's Creed, the Shadow kind of thing, or whatever the name is, the Asian one, with the black guy as a samurai. Oh, but that's a legend. That's real. Like, yeah, but not like that. You know, like they're failing to depict so many things in the game, apparently, that the girl character, which is a side character, seems way more appealing and way more engaging than the main character in some way. So anyway, that's an entirely different episode. I think we're piling up some episodes here, Dom, with this one alone. Yeah, that's another episode. That's another episode. We have like 4 or 5 episodes already in the
We'll kind of condense it later, but yeah.
Basically, my point...
It's pretty straightforward.
My point with the Assassin's Creed thing is that half the team, apparently, according to Ubisoft, which is the development team, right, were beginners. They never before worked on a AAA game or anything like that. So I guess it shows, because there's a whole bunch of, you guys can look that up, you know, there's videos exploring some of the bugs, the fails with the designs and the katanas and all the swords.
The team has to take the time to mentor those entry-level junior artists.
Yeah.
You know, and if they don't have the fundamentals, it's more work for the studio to get their fundamentals up to par. And that's the stuff that they should have been learning either in art school or on their own time.
Yep.
You know, the grunt work, the study. It's like, bro, you can't just like wing it. You know what I mean? You have to stay focused. All right.
I don't know where to start. Does anyone have tips to start in this career path? I love video games, and the idea of being part of that process sounds amazing. First step.
First sentence already describes it.
Yeah. Deciding what exactly one to achieve and why.
Yep.
But I just like games. I love video games. So I want to be a concept artist. That's what most people think, you know? I didn't want to be a concept artist because I loved games. I wanted to be a concept artist because I enjoyed designing my own worlds and stuff. Bro, I have, you know, I have some drawings that come to mind when I was a kid, and I would design the planet, the characters, the creatures, the type of vegetation, the type of vehicle, the weapons, the costume designs. Like, why would I, like, what the, right? That's not, didn't you have anything else better to do, Adrian? Nope. I was just exploring these things in my mind. Soon enough, you get tired of copying cartoons all the time, so you want to create your own shit. And that's when you discover, hey, I enjoy this. I like world building, you know?
That's what concept art is.
Yeah.
Just building your own stuff.
And that's,
you don't do fan art. You don't do...
It helps,
you know,
to answer this question. Why?
Why?
And what exactly do you want? That's what makes you say,
what?
I like creatures.
I don't know.
I like characters. I like landscapes. Oh, no. Me, I'm a vehicle guy. That's all I do. This is what helps you decide these questions.
Do vehicles. Yeah.
So now you know.
Do what you're good at.
But if you're aimless like that, you don't exactly know, I don't know, I like a little bit of everything. There's a path for you too. There's a generalist kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say you're cooked, but you know, there's always been that debate.
Time kind of,
Specialized or generalist?
Yeah.
What do I do, Dom? Like, which one should I go? It's up to you, bro.
I mean, as a concept artist, you're going to create everything, right? As I mentioned in the last video, you're going to draw everything. You're going to paint everything.
But then how can you explain those concept artists that only get specific jobs for like designing this dragon for this movie or designing this alien creature for Avatar movies or whatever?
Well, if you look at their portfolio, they probably have a ton of mileage throughout all their pieces, right? They have like 300 plus pieces that are good.
I feel like it's all a bunch of sacrifice, you know, like it's a balancing act. Like a sniper rifle or a shotgun. They're different purposes, right? They have different purposes. They work very differently. The way you approach wielding those weapons is entirely different. Not to make this about weapons, is the first thing that came to mind as an example, you know? The first one I said is a razor blade, very sharp beam of focus. The shotgun is like wide range. I can do anything, bro.
CQB, close quarter.
Bro, I can do weapons, I can do characters, landscapes, whatever. You know, I'm good at everything. But you cover let's say you don't go as deep as someone who specializes in that
Right.
specific weapon, right? So
Like, if you want to do character design, make your portfolio mostly all character design and have like a couple props, have a couple environments sprinkled in,
yeah,
but don't make the whole portfolio like environments if you're in a character design, you know. Anyways, let's move on.
I want to become a concept artist. What should I expect? Any advice is appreciated. It's almost always the same question, you know. People are just asking. That's normal.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to do this. Is it cool? You guys can tell me anything about it. So let's see what people say. Have a look at FZD on YouTube. I mean, it doesn't get any more simple than that, bro. There's so many people online now. Like,
he was like one of the first ones who started the whole concept art movement thing. So
look, while we appreciate that you guys are here listening to us and watching our stuff, there were people way before us doing this thing, right? And this is maybe like throwing rocks upon our own roof.
Inspiration.
No. Like we're damaging our own attention here from you guys, because I'm recommending you go look up Feng Zhu, go look up Trent Kanyuga, or whatever you pronounce that the name, like
Sakura.
What?
Sakura.
Oh, Sakura, dude. You see, there's so many people out there teaching you for years. We're just here to relate our own experiences and to teach from what we've learned, right? They're doing the same. But these guys have like 20, 30 years of experience.
They know what to do. They know how to teach you the bare bones.
That. You can't beat mileage. That's experience. That speaks for itself. So feel free to look up any of these legends. It's so easy to find. Just Google most prominent figures in the concept art industry or whatever. You know, you'll come across some results and find your answers.
Nomen CGMA.
This too, yeah. There's so many courses and classes and schools out there. Oh, but I don't have money. You'll find a way. I'm sure of that.
And some courses you'll probably have to pay some out of your pocket. You know, if you want the quality stuff, you gotta pay to win a little bit. You know, you gotta invest a little bit into your education. Like if you're able to spend over $30,000 on a traditional art school, you should probably be able to pay for like $5 for a Gumroad or something, you know, or like
it all
a couple $100 for a CGMA class.
Yeah, it all comes down to what we said earlier about how to spend your time. It's the same thing here, how to spend your money, right? So instead of the Starbucks whatever, or the cinema ticket for this movie, or the whatever, video
put it
games,
towards knowledge and education.
You should
something that you really need.
I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. I'm here to tell you should prioritize your hierarchy structure for which things you want first, right? So that's all that is. It's all a matter of organization on your end. So you decide. This guy is telling the same thing here. Like, focus on what you want: characters, props, vehicles, environments, and get really good at that.
All right. Yeah, let's move on.
Where was I here? How viable is is concept art as a career in 2024? I don't know. We're just working. Like, if someone comes to us today asking, hey, I'm thinking about starting to study concept art because I like video games. Not because I like drawing, because I like video games. What would you say?
Well,
good luck, bro. No, but seriously,
that's pretty much it.
You need to understand what comes with it. This is
do your research.
This is like an internal battle with yourself, constantly willing to improve, taking feedback, implementing the feedback, posting.
This is a hard game.
Engaging online with people, making friends, contacts, putting yourself out there. It is what it is. This is how it is. You know, this is this path. And if you choose it, you must accept what comes with it.
It's a high ceiling industry, which means that, there's a higher barrier for entry, right? It's not like your typical, bank job. You get your business degree for 3 or 4 years, you get that job. But for this, it requires something else,
Yeah.
It's almost like entrepreneurship in a way. Like you have to kind of market yourself and build your brand, build your identity. It's not something where you get hired within a few months, or you go through like an apprenticeship for like 10 months and then get hired, which it's a possibility, but like you still got to study freaking hard.
This is also true. What they're saying here, like concept artist is a mislabeled thing on most job postings. A concept artist is not technically the same as an illustrator position.
Yeah.
But the two constantly get confused. So it is true that they overlap in many areas, right? But from the position of the one who's hiring, depending on who's listed for that job to look for people to hire and stuff, it may be a little mislabeled. Yes. So
I think if you want to go more into illustration type work mixed with the concept art type work, then you'd go for more viz dev, visual development, because that has like kind of the best of both worlds, where you're illustrating nice scenes,
yeah,
but at the same time you're also thinking and problem solving.
yeah.
Props.
Viz dev is short for visual development, just in case people are wondering. So yeah, it's not necessarily an entirely different job, but it's like
it's kind of similar. It's
like a
pretty
branch,
much the same.
Like a branch, you can take a specialized path on that, So,
but also very competitive.
Of course, yeah, and it's a lot more prominent in movies, I guess, movie productions and stuff like that. Animation, especially.
Animation, yeah. I mean, I was a viz dev artist at DreamWorks, so it's like the same thing.
How realistic is pursuing a career as a concept artist for your average Joe? UK? I mean, I don't know if... How much do you think the location matters? Like with all of this remote job postings and stuff like that nowadays. I'm just asking.
I mean, I've gotten some clients from China.
I'm asking because
away from the US.
To me, it feels like it doesn't really matter. You could work with people, like living in Europe, you could work with people in America, in Australia.
I mean, look at Andre, bro. He's literally working from Brazil at an American company.
Yeah.
And they're sending him American wages to him.
There's so many other artists that this is international, guys. This is not some local stuff. Unless they need you on site, like they need you to be in the
that's
office.
a different story.
It's a different story. But most likely, you will be getting jobs that last, I don't know, anywhere from 3 months to maybe a year and a half. It depends on the project and how long they need you on board. Because your implication as a concept artist doesn't last until the last finishing touches of the project, right? They especially need you in the beginning, when ideas need to flourish and be explored. That's why they hire you. So that's why you should expect your participation not to last too long in the project, because soon enough, the 3D team will take over and the programmers will take over. In some cases, it can happen that both things are being developed at the same time. You're exploring concepts while the programmers work with some gray boxes or some placeholders, for what the character would be, or what these areas could look like, these environments. Been on the fence, committing years to learning through 2D and push.
So his question is it realistic that your average Joe could spend 3 to 5 years learning and building up the necessary skills, apply and obtain a full-time in-house position within the UK?
Yeah.
3 to 5 years of learning.
Yeah.
Average Joe.
Look, maybe I'm a little too optimistic or something, but I feel like 3 to 5 years sounds very different than 3 to 5 months, as we've seen before. So,
you could do it.
If you can afford to work your ass off for 3 years, you have no idea how far you can get, bro.
And you got to work your ass off.
Yeah, we're talking no nights out, no fun, no. Oh, Adrian, you're so extreme.
If you want
Shut
to
up, bro.
extend
This
it a bit
takes
longer,
really, really hard work, you know?
you can spend 10 years like us. You know, we did like a little bit of, we had our fun, we went on vacation, and we did all the other life stuff. You know, if you want
Yeah.
to take a little bit longer, you know, it will take you around 10 years. But if you want to have no social life and basically run your mental health into the ground, yeah, 3 to 5 years,
Listen,
that you can do it. You can definitely do it.
you could land your first job within the first year, maybe, or the second, but it won't
Just
be a AAA job
laser focus.
or some crazy job, right? You have to understand that. I don't think this guy is expecting to land such a position in 3 to 5 years, but it could be. However, I'm saying it's unlikely. You will most likely get started from the bottom, and you know.
We said on the bottom here, if I were to commit around 25 to 30 hours a week learning the craft, is it realistic? Probably, but a full-time job is what, 40 hours?
Yeah, if you're
So
going to work
25 to 30 hours.
8 hours a day when you get the job, that should feel. This is some David Goggins shit I'm going to say here. You know, like if your final work, your job is going to be 8 hours a day, your training should be twice as long, right? So basically, what I'm saying is like, if you're going to work 8 hours when you get the job, it means that you should be used to working 8 hours and more before you get the job, so that the job now feels like a breath of fresh air. Only 8 hours a day? That's nothing, bro. I can do that, you know? Now, of course, that's not easy. It's way easier said than done. But when you're just living, breathing, eating, drinking, and only thinking about concept art, it gets a lot easier because you're obsessed with it. And that's what it takes. People associate this obsession word with a bad connotation.
Like hustle culture or something.
Everything has a price, bro. Everything has a price. Everything takes something. Energy doesn't get destroyed nor created. It gets transformed.
Big dreams require big sacrifice.
Yeah.
Just what it is. If you dream small, you're not going to sacrifice that much, right? But if you want the big stuff, it's...
But balance.
That...
But life. But yeah, you'll get that.
Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, you can live a normal life. No one is stopping you from living a normal life. But if you want to, like you said, if you want to do what beasts do, you got to do what the beasts do.
You know? Right. Damn right. So all I'm saying is that if you truly want something, you will find a way. That's just how it is. You know, when people want and really want something, they find a way. So I'm not sure if you've ever been in this position to gasp for air because you're drowning or something. It's crazy. The way, the violence you show in your body just to get to that air and finally breathe. It's insane. That's the dedication you will have with this as well. Like, man, I need to make this. You see this in the most successful people out there as well. Like, I had nothing else. All I was thinking of is this. Is this dedication kind of thing, you know? That example with the air reminded me of one of those old motivational videos from the 2012. Like,
oh, yeah.
I'll meet you tomorrow at the beach. You know, like E.T. or that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let's go on the next one. I think last one, right?
How realistic. Oh, yeah. This is the last one. Fundamentals aren't everything. Bro. Okay, I know. LOL. Shut the fuck up, bro. That's not how it is. Like, fundamentals aren't everything. Then where are they? They're not needed, right? And I'm already criticizing whoever posted this from the get-go, but no hard feelings, you know. I don't even know these people. But what I'm seeing here is just... Let's keep reading, okay? The fundamentals are very important, but I often feel when I look at social media, they treat the fundamentals as if it's a perfect test in evaluating someone's art. Well, I mean, if your perspective is off, if your anatomy is off, if your lighting is off, if your color theory is off, if your composition is off, if your values are off, what am I left with?
Look what they say next.
And that is not necessarily the truth, or better yet, in evaluating art, I guess what I'm saying is the idea of someone's worth. Someone's worth.
In understanding contemporary art and the classic art avenues of the art galleries, this person is talking about fine art. They're not talking about commercial concept art, biz dev.
I could see that when I saw this thing here. Oh, by the way, this is an entirely different Reddit, right? This is Artist Lounge. See, this is game dev, concept art. So yeah, of course they're talking this way because that's what I would expect from someone like this, like the self-worth idea, bound to your work and stuff like that. That's how, bro. No, your self-worth transcends art in so many ways. It's not your job. You know, this doesn't make you doesn't make you worthy. What makes you worth for the industry are your skills. That's not your worth. Like, let's say, take Dom Lay as a person, right? Oh, he's not really that worth it because he's only got a year of experience. So, yeah, not much worth. Doesn't mean you're not worth as a person. It means for me and my business, I'm not going to hire you because you're a low value asset. I'm betting some money on you. It's the skill set. I won't get back what I expect. You know, like, what do they call that? ROI, right? Return on investment. It won't be
called a sunk cost fallacy or something. Like you.
Yeah, return on investment. I'm investing in you. I'm hiring you. I'm bringing you on board, and you're not paying off, bro. You're not good enough. Yeah. I expected you to be better, but
it's my fault. Fire you.
Yeah, it's my fault. I hired you knowing that you only had a year of experience. Sorry, I didn't know you wouldn't cut it for this job. So
you're replaced.
Of course you are. I'm going to hire someone else who's got 3-4 years of experience and a bunch of titles under the belt. So, yeah, unfortunately, this is how it is in this industry. I'm saying, unfortunately, take that with a grain of salt. It's actually nice that people actually take some effort to get to them, right? If not everyone, if we just hand medals to everybody, right? Imagine they start. It would be a mess, bro. Think of the industry and think of the game development landscape. Think of those games you so much enjoy playing. Imagine they're made by people with no experience. What do those games look like now? Do you still enjoy those games? I don't think so. So now you understand that it takes something to get somewhere like that. So
you need some value to bring. Yeah. Where were we?
We're here.
Just because you know the fundamentals does not mean success in everything. You could have success on social media, making simple and clean portraits of cartoon characters. Well, this is like, I think they're talking about just,
of course,
independent business.
Yeah, because now we're not talking about specific jobs like concept art, concept design, viz dev, and stuff like that. Now it's just art in general, which now this becomes a totally different comment because it is valid, you know?
Yeah.
This wouldn't be valid if you were talking about concept art because fundamentally turned out they do seem to matter, right? But now because you just want to express yourself through art on social media and build an audience and stuff like that, sure.
Yeah, then that's different.
Go ahead, do your thing, you know, find your people out there. Someone's going to like your art for sure, and you'll soon enough have your own audience, and you will monetize that somehow, turn it into a business, and be a successful artist. And then you perhaps even get to a point where you get to influence the art industry because you got so big, and I'm talking in an exaggerated way here. This is an extreme case scenario, right? Where you got so big that you're starting to influence the rest of the art around you and people start copying you and you shift this sort of art ball, you know? So this
check out the comment underneath.
This sure feels like making yourself feel better. Hey, I didn't say that. He said it. Oh shit. Damn, so savage. Yes, there are important. What's also important is pacing yourself and not burning out, but stop spreading misinformation. I mean, look, everyone's free to speak up their minds. That's fine. It's just your job to discern what's true or what's fake, and what do you take in? What do you take? What do you?
Oh,
leave
see,
out?
look, I even said the same thing on the second comment
Fundamentals.
below it.
Yeah, basic grammar. Like you said before, damn, that's your example. You've got to learn those first if you're going to communicate effectively. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're breaking
And the
away.
third one.
Sorry, but as in all masteries, fundamentals are everywhere and are the only objective way to evaluate something. I can't judge something based on feelings because I don't know what the artist who made that piece is feeling. Just to play the devil's advocate here, I would say that at a point, you definitely feel what they were going through. There's some artists that are pretty dark, for instance, and they only do horror stuff and, I don't know, like very creepy paintings and stuff like that. Their fundamentals are on point, colors are nice, and composition is nice, and designs are cool, but you can't help it but to go like, damn, dude, what's making you create these things? Why? And I know that at some point it might become a wrong way to judge anyone, but judging a book by its cover is what we always do. Always.
Yeah.
You judge based on appearance. It's a primal thing. It's embedded in our genetic code. We've been doing it for so many years, generations, that you're basically judging things based on your perception, right? Sight is one of them. Smell is another one of them. Then hearing is another one of them. Touch, all these things. And yeah, sorry, I was just playing the devil's advocate on this guy.
He might be just talking about how you see things in the image, right? If it doesn't look clear or readable, how can he base it off of feelings, right?
Yeah.
Like a form doesn't look like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And that's what he said in the last paragraph.
See, nonsense. That's why in the industry, companies don't hire people for feelings. They hire people for their abilities as an artist in the fundamentals. How you use those fundamentals to evoke emotion in the public is just up to you. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
You can evoke the emotions after you've mastered the fundamentals, right? Because you can explain stuff in a way that makes sense visually to the audience.
Damn right.
But then your emotions are impacted within the form and maybe the gesture or like the color choice or I don't know, like the expression of a character.
So that was our last one.
How long is this episode?
This is like almost an hour and a half. And yeah.
Okay.
Well, just thank you guys. Thank you for listening this far. You're legends. Thank you for tuning in with us here on this episode and listening to our...
And yeah, please share it to anyone who's not really well versed on these things, or they need to know these things in order to have a good career. We're not saying this to scare anybody. We're not saying this to put down anybody, but we're just saying the realistic facts, right? Because a lot of people are just kind of ignorant to the facts and the reality of this whole industry, that they just kind of, think they know what's up. We're just saying it based from our experience, our trials and errors, and we want to make sure you guys don't make the same mistakes, right? So yeah.
Okay. That being said, thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in the next episodes. All right? Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
See you guys.